Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of my music and conversation show. I am over here grooving to the sounds of Kenny Lattimore and myself, Gonna Love You Tonight. You know, we did that song originally in 2015, I think, or 14, and every time I hear it, it still has the same reaction. It is a fun, cool song, and it makes you want to dance. As a matter of fact, everybody online here today, they were all kind of dancing. I got little pictures down in the bottom here. Of course, Gonna Love You Tonight is also on my new album, Alone Together. It is a new version, a sort of new version. It's the original track, but with new performances by Kenny Lattimore and myself. Of course, we originally did it for my Stage It live show, but we also redid it for my album, or you should say, it's the same version for my live virtual show that ended up on the album, remixed and so on. But let's bring my special guest, Kenny Lattimore, on here. I'm very excited to have him on the show, and he is one of my dearest friends. Kenny, how you doing, buddy?
I am fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
I saw you dancing, or swaying. It was kind of a sway to the music.
What makes me dance and sway? Well, that's my seat sway,
Yeah,
not my chair sway.
it is a fun song, isn't it? I mean, it kind of makes you do that. It has a sway to it that just kind of. I can imagine. I've seen these. Where all the women usually get together in the front of the dance floor and do the lines and all of that stuff. There's a whole dance movement. I could see it happening to that song.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I just wanted to really just reminisce on how brilliant the Soul Appeal album was, period. So for me to be a part of that and Barry Eastman producing and all of that, it was quite an honor to work with you.
Well, thank you for saying that. That's actually how we met on that first session at Sunset Sound. It was a bit, for me, it was a groundbreaking record because I had never done an album that way and with that type of music. I went kind of back and did more organic soul music and R&B.
You had all the right players.
Right.
Oh gosh, Teddy.
And then we cut it all live at the studio, which was nerve-wracking. But anyway,
I love that too. It gave me a real like renewed love for live music and recording. It really did. I was excited about that.
You know, it was crazy because, well, I got so much I want to talk about, but I just want to finish what you were saying off with. Were you there when Steve Perry came and hung out at the studio? So this is the crazy. We're talking about Steve Perry, the lead singer of Journey. So he came for the first day of recording and was only going to be there for like, I don't know, stop by for a half an hour. He ended up staying the entire day. Then he came back the next day earlier than all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came back the third day.
Yeah,
At one point, our engineer goes, Steve, what you're reporting for duty here? What's going on? And I said, how is it that Steve Perry, one of the greatest voices of the last, 30, 40 years, wants to just sit and hang out at my recording session? And because what you just said, he got this feeling of what recording an album can be like, where when you're all together with all the musicians and the producers, and it's all happened right then there on the spot. So there you go.
Yeah, we don't do it like that as now very much these days.
It's hard and it's expensive, but everything gets sort of staggered and built. Anyway, kid, we got so much to cover today. And by the way, can I just tell you that I just got the numbers today for this Alone Together, and we debuted on number 4 in sales and Billboard. I mean, on the contemporary jazz chart. So number 4, yeah. So I'm pretty happy about that. That's a pretty, pretty cool thing. So, and you're a big part of it. So thank you, Kenny.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's fantastic, though.
Thank you. So, Kenny, I want to go back a little bit to your beginning. So, Washington, D.C., right? Or D.C. area, is that right? Is that where you got your beginnings?
Literally born in Washington, D.C. I left Washington, D.C. at the age of maybe 6 to go 3 years to a place called Oxford, Pennsylvania. My mother worked at a college called Lincoln University. And then after that, she came back to the DC area to work for Howard University. So I still am always like DC is home.
Right.
And now they call it the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia.
Right.
It's always felt like one city. But I love the place. I don't get a chance to go back home as much. I did just come back from there, but I absolutely love the city. It's beautiful.
Well, how did you eventually make it out to LA? I mean, how did that come about? Did you have an opportunity out here, or you just said, I'd like to live, on the other side of the country? Or
yes, like I'm going to leave everything I know. Well, what happened was I was recording for Columbia Records for my first CD.
Okay, wait, because I want to get to that too. So you act because I wanted to know about your first recording contract and your first album. So that actually didn't happen in LA. That happened before you came to LA.
I'll go back then. My first recording contract, I was still living in the DC area. I was literally living in DC, and I lived, in the area, what have you. And I was in a group called Mannequin.
Okay.
And signed with Epic Records in the 80s, like 87. So I was a teenage recording artist, and I felt like, wow, this is really great. But Mannequin did not become successful commercially.
Okay.
It was an amazing success in terms of my education and understanding of the music industry and how to perform.
Sure.
After that, I recorded again for a label called East West, which was a part of Atlantic, with Sylvia Rhone and a guy named Merlin Bobb. And I was working with a guy with identical twins. So that was our gimmick, right? We had them twins and we had Kenny Lattimore, and we were going to come out with an album, and it never came out, actually.
Oh, wow.
But again, some more great recording experience. And what I got out of it during that time period was I was able to write for a singer named Glenn Jones and John Lucien, very different artists, but it really solidified me in the industry more as a writer before I became an artist.
Yeah. And what was your first album was on then Columbia? You end up getting, was that what it was?
My solo album was on Columbia, and it was a time when I felt like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. I've been in bands and groups and done everything. And it was scary for me because when you've had the support of groups and all of that on stage and in the recording studio, to do that by yourself was a little overwhelming.
Right.
I knew that it was my call. I was more of an inspirational singer. A lot of times people are like, oh, he was the romantic love guy or whatever. No, I wanted to be like BB and CeCe Winans. That's how I grew up in gospel music. So the way that it all came about was I needed to do an album that was going to allow me to be authentically me.
By the way, is this the album we're talking about?
Cover right there, yeah.
Look at that handsome fella right there.
I had to learn how to take pictures. It's so funny. That took a while too. But that picture was taken by a guy named David Stennett. And David and I were doing what do they call it? I can't remember what they called it. Maybe a mock photo shoot. It wasn't a photo shoot for the album. We spent thousands and thousands of dollars on a photo shoot for the album with a great photographer, but the pictures only came out okay. Right. And then we had this little mock shoot that just had my face, and we turned to the side, and that ended up being the album cover. It's really amazing. We were still able to do the shoot, but
that experience rings really true. It really rings a note with me because we all go into these photo sessions, and they're very expensive to do. You got to rent the studio, and there's photographers, of course. That there's assistants, there's makeup, there's everything is there.
All for you.
And props, and you have a car. You take photos of, and then it doesn't really come down to all of that. Yeah. What it really comes down to is just being able to capture a moment or the essence of you as an artist, of what that album is about. And a lot of times it's the photos that is caught when you're sitting by yourself, just on lunch break in a couch or against an even background with none of it. So it's all stripped down. So essentially we could just focus on you, So I know exactly what you mean by that.
And I think that's why that particular cover worked, exactly what you're saying. It was like, okay, just my face. I'm new. There used to be an idea that maybe they shouldn't be so close in your face yet. You had to earn the right for the close-up to exist. It's so many different theories to the marketing and all that existed back then.
Right.
Nowadays, everything is fair.
Right.
But the observation that you made was totally true.
Yeah. So then moving a little bit forward. So you also got signed by Clive to Arista, or is that?
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
that's amazing. I mean, I did not personally know that, but
yeah. You know, what's interesting is to tell my Columbia story, and we see you fans. Thank you for your. We see your messages and everything too. God bless you.
yeah,
Love you. Um, we were a part of. I would say we. I was a part of rather a group of artists that did adult music, adult R&B. Columbia decided that they weren't going to really do the kind of adult R&B and make the investment in that as much anymore. So I went over to Clive. Alicia Keys was also with me.
wow,
She used to be my opening act,
wow,
and we went on over to Clive's. But I went to Arista. She went to Jay, and there was another really wonderful singer named Trina Broussard
hmm,
who was at Motown, and she was at Columbia. I think she went Motown Columbia, but she did some other things, and she's made some wonderful music since. But we all were just the casualty of record label changes, and
right,
Clive had a moment with me where I got the whole famous "Go to the Bungalow," I mean all of that, right?
right,
And we're at the Hollywood Beverly Hills Hotel, and he says, "You know what? I want you to see something." And he plays me a video, but the video is me doing a song called "Days Like This," and
sure.
it's the actual video from "Days Like This." And he just looked at it and he said, "This guy right here is a star." He said, "This is a star."
And he's been right a few times, hasn't he?
It was pretty amazing. Unfortunately, the big story was that he didn't stay either. He was transitioned
Right,
out from Arista, and then L.A. Reid came in. But L.A. Reid was a huge respected producer.
right,
We didn't know him as a record executive. Unfortunately, I don't think he knew me either. I think
yeah,
that the building of Arista was excited that I was there because
right.
a lot of the people who I did business with in the industry were across different record companies and all, and they were like, "We're excited that Kenny Lattimore's here," but when the head doesn't really know you,
Yeah, it's
it's
tough. Yeah,
difficult.
it's a tough one. Yeah, I mean the whole, Kenny, it's
Yeah.
uh, the whole business of being signed, not being signed, making your own records, and then being signed. I mean, it's like it's interesting. I did the last four albums I did on my own for my label, and then this very last one, I ended up signing a deal for this particular project. I mean, it's just, I think we just have to look at what makes sense at the time for us. But
Yeah.
anyway, let's get to a little music. And talking about Alone Together, Kenny, I've always enjoyed working with you. I mean, whatever from the beginning in the studio, it was just so apparent that what a great artist, what a great guy you are,
Thank you.
and the time we spent on the road together are some of my favorite memories. I mean, you and I cannot do a show for 6 months. We can go back on that stage, and it felt like we just did one the day before.
Right.
It just works. It
Yeah.
just and it's effortless. It feels effortless, right? It feels out there, and I
Yeah.
feel like I got you, you got me. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna make sure that you're taken well care of. And it just feels walking on that stage. It feels wonderful, and
Yes,
I'll
sir.
tell you, walking out in that audience together and doing Everything Must Change.
Um,
Yeah, that is kind of a thing.
yeah.
But getting back to our song, "Gonna Love You Tonight." You were a part of my album release concert a couple of weeks ago, and again, it was so much fun to do this song for the album release concert there. But when I asked you about to do a song to close the show, I had an idea about a song, and I said I wasn't sure if it was the right song, and you said, let me think about maybe an alternative to that. And you came up with a brilliant idea.
Mm, mm,
Love's in need of love today. And I just thought, that's talk about a perfect song and message for the times, okay? So
mm.
when I was like, first of all, it's like, why didn't I think of that? But it was such a beautiful experience. And,
You are
I'd,
putting a lot of pressure when you're putting the show together. sometimes you need ideas thrown at you, and then you can say, "Oh, okay, this does work." Or that,
Yeah. But listen, I want to run a little clip of our last song on the show, "Love's in Need of Love Today." So check it out, everybody.
We must all take precautionary measures. If joy and peace you treasure, then listen to what we're saying. So don't you know that love's in need of love today? Oh, and don't delay, but send just in right away. Don't you know that hate's going around, breaking many hearts? Yeah, but stop it, please, before we've gone too far.
How about that, Kenny?
Oh,
Isn't that cool? I just think it's. I'm so glad we did that. And again, I can't thank you enough. You were so kind, and I said to you, I would love for you to be a part of the show, and you said I'm there.
absolutely.
And I'm there because of the love for you and the music and for our mutual artistry, and it means I almost get emotional thinking about it because that is such a sweet thing to say to somebody, and it's something that I want to say to other people too. It makes you when you hear words like that from a fellow artist, you want to give that on to somebody else because you kind of understand what a profound impact that has, So thank you.
Thank you. We were joking around the other day about my background singers too, Tamika People, Tamika Farina, and we've had such a great time. We were in Jakarta, and it's so funny. I'm telling you guys this whole joke, but Michael was like, "They laugh so much and everything. Are they laughing at me or are they laughing with me? What's going on?" Because they do have so much fun. But what was funny to them was they didn't know what you were going to look like or how you were going to perform or what was going to happen when we did our first show. So we were just like, "Oh, we're getting it together." And Michael Lington walks out and my singers are like, "Whoa, he is not what we thought he was going to look like." See, they thought he came out and he was this sexy guy. I know he probably didn't think of himself that way, but he came out and he was just the guy giving them the stage presence and everything. And they were like, "Oh my gosh." So that cracked them up every single time. So I had to tell you that because I know you have a beautiful wife.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, it just still doesn't explain that they still laugh every time I walk on the stage.
Yeah, so they were like, "Oh man, no," they really didn't know what you were going to be like, what your persona would be like, particularly with me on the stage too. And I was like, "No, he's going to equal it. We're going to have fun up here."
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all they certainly, and if they're having fun, we're having fun on stage. People in the audience are having fun. That's
And
just
then the
how,
audience,
yeah. So, Kenny, something very interesting happened to you, a couple of months ago? The whole thing about you being featured on Michael Jordan's.
Yeah.
Now, did you know that was going to happen? I know that was a big deal, a big boost to everything because, he's a very influential guy, Michael Jordan.
I did know that there was a documentary coming. I kind of haphazardly was talking about. So I kind of had heard about it, but I didn't know the name of it.
By the way, look at this right here. And talking about Barry Eastman, that's the guy that produced "Gonna Love You Tonight." That's so cool. He's in that shot too. And look at you, Kenny, and that
was the
cool.
first time meeting Michael. Actually,
oh, wow.
What happened was Michael Jordan was a big fan from the beginning of my first album. So "Never Too Busy" was a song he liked. It was supposed to be a part of his cologne. I don't know if you all remember the Jordan cologne that was coming out. So it didn't happen because of some business deal. I didn't own the song rights. So I couldn't give him the song rights and keep going. I think when people thought Michael Jordan, they're thinking, "Cha-ching, we're going to charge him this much money for this song," And it just wasn't. It was a business venture that was different. And they whatever the people were asking for, I think exceeded the budgets. So I was really bummed out about it because I was like, that would have given me a great association and all. And
Right.
all of a sudden, some months later, I get a call to come to like the launch of the Jordan brand. And I was like, really? And it was initially to sing for a luncheon. So
Wow.
I go to this luncheon and Michael Jordan comes in eventually. Long story short, he and Ahmad Rashad walk in the room and he says, before I let anybody in this room, I need to just have a personal concert. I just need him to sing this song called Forever from his album for me. Now, what that let me know is that he was a real fan. I mean, he chose an obscure song that was never a single, and he really wanted me to sing that. And Barry Eastman happened to know the song. How? I don't know, but Barry Eastman knew the song. So that just started our relationship, and he called me to go to other functions, whether it was for his family or for other Jordan brand things. I know we were in Vegas because I know I had James Poyser playing for me one time. We were in Vegas, but I had some really great times with him. And just that endorsement, I knew he was a fan. I knew that The Last Dance was coming, and I knew that he was going to say that he was listening to Kenny Lattimore because Sony called me because you have to license someone's song for it to be in a documentary like that.
Right.
But I didn't know that he was going to be jamming out and all the memes and stuff that came up later.
Right.
I didn't know what it was going to look like. So initially he was like, he's listening to Kenny Lattimore. I was like, yeah, he's a fan, you know, but I never told anybody.
Yeah.
Well, no, I never talked about it.
Well, that is just too cool. I mean, I'm sure it was kind of a hoot for you to see that go down too.
My phone blew up. Everybody
sure.
from everywhere. And then people all around the world were like listening to the music some people for the first time. And again, I got to see some of those royalties this month.
Well, that's the thing. It's like like when Michael endorses something like that, I'm sure their plays and downloads and go through the roof. It's like Oprah doing the same thing. There's like the Oprah and the Michael Jordan effect. You know, it's incredible. Well, good for you, Kenny. That was I got a kick out of seeing that. I thought that was so cool. Think about how many artists he could have literally picked or songs he could have picked, and it happened to be you. I thought that was so cool.
And it wasn't hip hop, and it wasn't what people typically think athletes need to be hype.
Right.
The only way I could explain it was that in his excellence, he was hype enough. He probably needed music to calm him down and soothe him so that he would be able to operate in excellence.
Right. So, hey, Kenny, getting back to my new album, Alone
Here's
Together.
Barry. Hey, Barry.
Oh, Barry's there? Oh, Barry's there. I just got off the phone with Barry texting, and here he is.
Hey.
Well, talking about Barry, let's show this picture again. So this right here is Barry Eastman over to the left. A very young Barry Eastman, I should say. And Barry, of course, produced many of your songs and albums, and produced 3 full albums for me as well. And actually, we should say Barry connected the two of us. You know, when we were talking about having a sax vocal duet on my Soul Appeal album. Barry said, well, what about Kenny Lattimore? I said, oh my God, I love Kenny Lattimore. But so thank you, Barry, for tuning in. It's so cool of you. But getting back to Alone Together. So we revisited our Gonna Love You Tonight. And again, it was so much fun to do. I'm going to run a little clip here so people can see. And now what was interesting about all of these video duets, which essentially became the duets on the album, was the fact that we all literally did them alone together.
Right.
You know? And somehow a lot of people think we were all in the same room, but no, we did them alone together. And it was apparent after, I don't know how many had done that people were like, we want to get these duets. And I never intended for that to happen. You know, they were really just meant for my show. So one time play, that's it, you know. And when people kept on saying, well, we really like to get this album of duets, and remember, I've done almost 40 duets at this point. So I kept on like shoveling to the side. Nah, that's not the kind of record I want to make. I don't think so. Oh, it's going to be too difficult to get, yeses from all the artists and blah, blah, blah. Came up with all these excuses. Finally, after months, I go, why am I keep on pushing this project to the side when it literally keeps on landing in my lap? So I said, well, let me try to talk to a couple of people of the arts and see if they would be into it. And I think I called you, Dave Carson. I think it could have been maybe Boney James or something like that. And everybody kind of said yes before I even finished saying. So I said, well, wait a minute. Maybe it is possible after all. So, Kenny, again, another thing that I was so thankful that you did. But let's run a little clip of Gonna Love You Tonight originally from my Stage It show. And then, of course, we end up remixing and mastering this particular track for the album. Check it out.
You play hard to get, girl, I know how it feels. You wanna get to know me, but tonight we're gonna chill. I got something special that'll take your breath away, but I gotta promise that you'll let me. Baby, tonight for you, I'll do anything you want me to. If you tell me to, I'll run a mile to see you smile. 'Cause ooh, when you smile, stars light, baby, ooh, and your style drives me crazy, ooh. If you ask, you'll never get a maybe. Gonna love you tonight, yeah.
Oh, man. Too much fun.
Beard.
Hey, man, I got out the white shirt for you, so we got that magic.
I love it. Yes.
Oh, man, it is so great. Kenny, I am so absolutely thrilled for you that you have found such a beautiful woman and love in your life and seeing, I have to be honest with you. When I saw you guys' wedding photos, I thought you were all having a wedding at that Buckingham Palace.
Right.
I mean, my goodness, it looks like you guys are doing the royal wedding. What is going on?
That is, yeah. I have such an amazing wife who had a vision about what she wanted her dream to be, and it all just came true. I mean, every detail of it, and we didn't know so many things that were happening during the time period, and then they were just starting to talk about this pandemic was coming, and some people were, trying to figure out, okay, we're going to have this person here, we're going to have that person, and the whole world shut down right after. And then the pandemic ended up, I think, even solidifying our relationship even more, just the foundation of it, because we were, able to just be alone together.
Right.
Got a plug in there. Yeah, and being alone together means you learn so much more about each other, and you're able to just grow at a deeper pace. It's like your roots are deeper in that space.
Well, it just seems so apparent that the two of you are just kind of meant for each other, I mean, it just, you look at you going, yep, that seems correct right there. We all know stuff goes on behind the scenes, but I mean, the thing about it is that I haven't met Faith yet, but I know you and I know your character, so I can only imagine she just is your perfect match, Yeah, so I congratulate you so much. I'm excited. I'm excited to actually meet her. I haven't met her yet, so
I can't wait for her to meet Carrie, and I can't wait to meet your son. And just it's so funny. It's about to happen though. They're saying what, June 15. I don't know if that's going to make everybody comfortable necessarily, but they're going to start to open things back up because I think we're starting to level out, and we'll be able to make that connection to one another again. Right. So I'm looking.
Well, we're supposed to get married on we not supposed to. It's happening unless they tell us we can't. But August 1st, and so I certainly hope you guys can make it there. But talking about weddings and music that sort of gels together or goes hand in hand is your song For You. it's like become an anthem for first dances or just weddings in general. Isn't that right?
It has. It's pretty amazing. It was written by a guy named Kenny Lattimore, who was one of my best friends in high school, and he asked me to sing it for his wedding reception.
Mm.
And beautiful wife Ellen, amazing. They've been together a long time. As long as the song has been 25 plus years.
Didn't I meet him in Las Vegas
Yes.
on one of the shows?
Joe, he sure did. Yeah.
Yeah, I seem to remember that.
Pretty
Yeah.
amazing. So when he wrote the song, what I love is that it was just an authentic love song. It was his true love song. So for me to record it and for so many people to identify with what he was saying, the lyrics were beautiful. I mean, when I first received the song, it came with the lyrics first. It was like,
Right.
shoo. And I was like, fidelity, stability, and all these big words. I was like, how am I going to sing these words? But he had the perfect melody
Right.
that made just everything flow in a beautiful way. And I'm just so excited and so happy that it just lives on. I'm excited. We're about to, in celebration of the 25th anniversary. I'm like, wow, this lives on. And Barry Eastman again. Barry Eastman was the producer
Yeah.
of that song. So Barry was able to marry the all of the elements together,
Sure.
melody and music, to make it what it is today.
Do you think there's any chance of hearing a little bit of the song?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you want me to play? Can I play along a little bit, or should I just?
Even better.
Okay. Well, let me grab my horn.
Is there ladies when we do this?
Let me grab my horn, and I'll start it just so we have the key.
Oh, okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's a little bit of a cappella of For You.
Ooh, for you, I'd give a lifetime of stability. Anything you want of me. Nothing is impossible for you. There are no words or ways to show my love, or all the thoughts I'm thinking of. This life is no good alone. Since we've become one, I made a change. Everything I do now makes sense. All roads end and all I do is for you.
Wow, Kenny, thank you so much for that. Well, we just need this. We don't need a band. We don't need nothing. Just Kenny, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'm sure the people here. By the way, it's been an amazing comments here all throughout our show here. I'm so happy to see people tuning in, having a great time. So
we see you, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much to everybody. So Kenny, I want to ask you lastly here, what is next for you? What are you? How do you see you in the world? What's going on moving forward? Like, are you going to go back touring? You working on a new project? What tell us?
You know what? Initially, I've agreed to do a ton of weddings. I mean, when I say a ton is not a lot, but not like touring, but quite a few weddings. Whereas I would have done maybe 2 or 3 a year.
Right.
Maybe I'll do 10.
Wow.
So I've been taking in different requests and things and trying to make some beautiful moments for people who missed their day and things like that. So I'm going to do some weddings for the next several months as we're opening up.
Yeah.
And then I'll start to talk about recording again. And I'm also thinking about, I have a label. It's called Sincere Soul Records.
Right.
I'm thinking about launching another artist. So this is all new talks and
Very cool.
Stuff that I never thought about doing before, but I'm going to take advantage of the time. And it's really a way for me to give back I can help some other artists and help some other great music to enter into the universe.
That's such a wonderful thing. Kenny, thank you so much for
Thank you,
having
my
this
brother.
little chat today. It was always a pleasure to see you in person, see you here. I can't wait for you and I to get back on that stage together or in the studio, whatever we do. But it's always a good time, so I can't wait for that to happen again. And thank you so much for your generosity and your time and your beautiful vocals. So thank you, Kenny.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kenny Lattimore, my buddy Kenny. Man, it is really true. I cannot wait for he and I to make some more music together. But we do have Alone Together, which is which is available now. It came out last week, and we debuted it on number 4 on Billboard on the contemporary album jazz charts. And it really means the world to me that all of you guys have got the album or downloaded it. It really does. It means the world to me. So thank you very much. And I should mention also, I don't know if we have a little, no. So on April 18th, I will be back on stage at Sunday, April 18th. I hope I'm saying the right date. But I'll be back on stage with another virtual show, 5 p.m. As a matter of fact, all you got to do is go to my website, michaellington.com, and you can get more information. But I'll be having a Soulful Sunday. I think it's April 18th at 5 p.m. I'm going back. I take a little time off after my album release concert, but I'm back on a Sunday, April 18th, with a Soulful Sunday, playing some of my most soulful songs that I've recorded over my career, and also have a very special guest on the show. So I hope you'll get a ticket and come and see me. It's pay what you can. Go to michaellington.com for more info. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's great to be here. See you.